Welcome to the bridge on ANZAC Class frigate. What we're going to do now is take you for a little tour of the bridge and tell you what's what. Well, while we're at sea, it's a pretty busy place. It's where the centre of all the activity of the ship is run from. The responsibility for the safe conduct of the ship while at sea is run by the officer of the watch. They're directly answerable to only the captain when they're at sea, and they're responsible for the safe navigation of the ship so we don't ground, safe navigation so we don't run into another ship, and they've got to manage the bridge team. And it's a really art form for the officer of the watch to be able to manage the bridge team effectively so the ship can meet its goals. Now, the role of the assistant officer watch is to monitor the chart work of the bridge and to ensure the nav safety. In addition to that responsibility is usually filling the role of driving the ship and actually being the conning officer of the ship. To be the conning officer of the ship, it means you control the ship's movements, both rudder and engine orders. Now, the person that actually does the driving of the ship physically is the helmsman. The helmsman answers to the officer of the watch and is responsible for ensuring that the engine and rudder of the ship does exactly as what we want. Standing next to the helmsman is the quartermaster. The quartermaster is responsible for the engine movements of the ship as well as administration of the bridge. Another person who has an important part to play while we're at sea is the communicator, or our signalman. Now, these CIS sailors are responsible for the communications from our ship to shore authorities and to inter-ship communication as well. Now, overseeing the role of the officer watch on the bridge is the role of the navigating officer. The navigating officer's role on board any of the RAN ships is twofold: to provide the service to the captain to ensure the ship doesn't run aground or hit anything, which is always a good thing. And the second one is to train the officers of watch and the young officers of watch up to the standard that is required for them as an officer watch on the bridge. Now, the navigator on the bridge is answerable to the captain, and the captain sits up here on the bridge. This is where he sits at sea, and only he sits in that chair.
Okay, so in here we can feed about 35 to 40 people at once. Junior sailors on board, there's around 60 to 70 of us, so not everybody gets a feed at the same time, so we have to rotate through. Over this way here is where we set up for all our meals. So if you turn behind you to there, we've got a salad bar here. This gets all set up with fresh salads and whatnot. Fridge is underneath for storing any cold things we need. As you can see here, the plates are all set up for action stations as well, so they're all secured down into the compartment. Soft serve cones for ice cream. Guys that like ice cream to be served breakfast, lunch and dinner, but unfortunately for them it's only on for dessert at night time. Through here, microwave to heat up any food that they're keen to. We also have cordials, water, fresh ice. It does get quite warm in here. Bread stowage underneath, and toaster across over to here, and brew point. So all your coffees and Milo tea over here, and all your cold golfers here, so soft drinks. And I guess the last thing we've got is fresh fruit here, and that's about it.
This is our duty watch section. This is where we prep dinner, and also we do things like desserts, fruit salads, stuff like that. Here we have pretty much a full-on commercial kitchen. We can feed up to 300 or 400 out of these galleys, and everything we need is available. We have plenty of storage space and plenty of equipment to do this stuff. We probably do altogether between breakfast, lunch and dinner about 600 meals, plus we do a meal about 12 o'clock midnight for ongoing watch keepers. This section is where we prepare lunch and dinner, actually cook it. We have 4 commercial ovens. This area here is where we present all the food. People come through this way and we serve them off the line. We have 3 choices. When lunch goes on, everyone's available here to serve to get all the crew through. Lunch goes for around about an hour, dinner about an hour and a half. We have 2 deep fryers. This section here is we do a bit of pot work, make sauces, do breakfast. Around here, we have what we call a wrap pan. We do a lot of our sloppy dishes. This one happens to be sardine chicken. Some of the good things is we are responsible for a bit of morale on the ship as well. Good food means good morale, and basically you can't fight an empty stomach, so we're much appreciated throughout the whole ship.
Here on board HMAS Stuart's, an ANZAC Class ship. There's only one PT, that's a Kelly PT myself, and my main job on here is to run sport and recreation for the ship. So the equipment we've got on here, obviously our stereo system and TV. We have a cross trainer, a rower. This bike here is what we call an elliptical bike. This bike here is also called a recumbent bike or elliptical bike, and what it's used for is predominantly for rehabilitation. And then over here we have a spin bike, and this is the bike that a lot of the guys use for fitness. Here's another recumbent bike here, which is the same as this one, and then our treadmill, which is starting to get a bit old, needs to be updated, and that'll be updated hopefully before we head off to RIMPAC, which is our next deployment over to Hawaii. So I get up at 5:30 and set up for fitness classes in the morning. The fitness class goes from 6 until 7 in the morning, and that's done out on the flight deck or in the hangar. Then I also run one in the afternoon, which we call Arvo Sport. That goes from 4:30 or 16:30 to 17:30, and we do different types of sport, so volleyball, deck hockey, soccer, Euro handball, and gridiron out on the flight deck. We can't stop the balls going over the side, obviously, so we make up these things. It's just a toilet roll wrapped up with tape. We use anything we can find, wrap it up with tape, and if that goes over the side, well, we just grab another one. There's something for everybody. As I said, there's 2 gyms on board Stuart, so the gym's always here if you want to do. There's fitness classes and the sport on board, and then obviously when we play sport against local teams, there is a standard that you'll have to reach to get into the higher level ones, like the Navy representative sport. But if the ship goes to play sport, then pretty much anybody can play if they're interested. Okay, as far as activities to do when we go overseas and deploy, at the moment Stuart doesn't have a flight. A flight is our helicopter embarkment. When we don't have a flight, we've got a lot more room to do things. So at the moment we've got a lot of guys downstairs that have got their mountain bikes on board. When we head over to RIMPAC for Hawaii, Tonga, Fiji and all that sort of stuff, there'll be a lot of guys on board surf, so we'll be taking our surfboards as well. But then when the flight come on and they've got all their tools, spare parts, helicopter, space is pretty tight, so you generally can't bring your bikes or anything like that on board. The other ships, say Manura and Canimbla, they can actually, when they're deploying in Australia, they can bring their motorcycles on board if the CO allows it. So there's a lot more space depending on what ship you're on.
Well, today I'll be taking you through the CSO's mess, which is 3 Echo Alpha 1. Currently berths 15 sailors. In this area here, 6 gentlemen sleep every night, and sometimes during the day a little bit too if we can sneak it in. 3 more sailors sleep here, 3 more sailors sleep in this bunk here, and across here to the right 3 more sailors sleep there. So all up in this confined area there's 15 of us sleep, and we all get 15, we all each get a locker each. This is the area that we get, so you get your boot locker up here, and you can put your boots and your GP boots and your Cobra hats and stuff like that we have to wear. And also in here you have your hanging space and your drawers, and you get a few little anemones sort of areas as well. Here we have our towels that we always have to secure for sea, just in case if there's a flood or anything like that, or a fire. So these are secured with these pins called Dobie pins. These go through your towel and through your getters. Thongs are called your getters, and your dirty clothes is called your Dobie, and you actually clean it with Dobie dust, and that's your Dobie bag. Up here we have the escape hatch. If in the case of a fire, flood, toxic hazard, or the compartment smoke filled, all 15 of us all line up, and one person leading, we all go up the escape hatch to the forecastle, where then we'll be instructed to either leaving ship stations, attempt to fight the fire or toxic hazard, or abandon ship. If you don't want to lie on your bed and watch your own laptop or play a video game or anything like that, or read a book, we can all be situated here. This is for the 15 of us, so it does get a little bit cramped, but you sort of learn to live out of each other's pockets a little bit. Okay, so this is my rack, commonly referred to as a pit as well. To secure for sea for many different reasons. You have your Velcro there for your pillows, though you can also use yourself in the rough weather to Velcro yourself in. You also have here your roll bar, which is used so in rough weather you don't roll out of the bed. To get into your rack, put the roll bar down, slide in, roll bar up, and you close the curtains for your privacy. Also in here you have your bunk light, which you can use for reading a book or whatever you want to read, and or you can write a letter or whatnot. And yeah, this is my rack.